Hey guys, welcome back to the Mobility Mindset. We got a treat today. Myself and Sarah have a guest in the office by the name of Billy. Sarah and I are big fans,
Yes,
personal
for
big
sure.
fans.
Well, hey, well, thank you. I mean, really, guys, thanks for the opportunity here. It's really is a pleasure. So I'm Billy. I'm Billy Price. I'm one of the two co-founders of the brand Billy Footwear. I think we're going to talk a lot about the brand today, but just in a nutshell, it was the brand that started as something as more of like overcoming my own personal need, but people found out about it and started finding a lot of value in the shoes in their own lives. And the brand has just grown tremendously over the years. So it's really exciting. Something very near and dear to my heart is my baby, but we're just really getting started because there's so much we can do.
Can I'm going to bring you back if that's okay. What made you do this?
When I was a teenager, after I graduated from high school, going up to college, I had an accident. I fell from a three-story window. It was a head first fall to concrete, which broke my neck and my lower back, leaving me paralyzed basically from the nipple line down. So it certainly affected my legs, but it also affected my arms as well. So I can move my arms and I can move my hands a little bit, but I don't really have dexterity. I can't really deal with laces. And there were just shoes ended up being one thing on a very long list of things I used to be able to do that I can no longer do. And over the years, I kind of figured out workarounds, but shoes just never, I just never found a solution for it. So it was something that someone always had to put my shoes on for me. And just over the years, that bugged me. So my teamed with a friend and we put our heads together and tried to come up with a different solution and make it get so I could put my shoes on independently. And we found a solution and it works great.
Amazing. I'm going to bring you back a little further, but so other than putting or having issues with shoes, what were other things that you were like that were pissing you off, so to speak?
I like the way you put that.
No problem.
Well, I mean, growing up, I was a fiercely independent kid. I was an inquisitive kid. I loved like putting stuff together. My dad, like the house that I grew up in, my dad had a workshop and I was always in there tinkering, building stuff, using the tools to cut stuff, put stuff together, take stuff apart, trying to figure out how it worked. And more of like an engineering kind of mindset. And it just, boy, now I've gone down that path. I forgot your question.
That's okay. It doesn't matter. We like to take tangents here. It's all right. Basically, it was just what were the other things that pissed you off?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You got
Yeah.
caught up with the word pissed
Well,
off. It's like, hey,
yeah.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. So, I mean, that kind of, so like working at this wood shop, I want to put stuff together, work with my hands. Also growing up, I was very active in the outdoors. I played a lot of sports. So after getting injured, there were a lot of like, I mean, not be able to kick a soccer ball, not be able to throw a baseball, not be able to catch a football, not be able to throw a frisbee, not be able to like run up a mountainside, ride my mountain bike. I mean, just all this, like drive my car, just walk. I mean, it was enough to have that take away. That was enough to really put me in a dark place.
Yep, I can see that. Sarah and I have both have kids who use Trexos. We know the dark place. We've been there ourselves. It's crap.
we talk about
It's
it a
crap.
lot. It's something that everyone should talk about. And every episode, whatever we're talking about, always tends to circle back. And it's something that a lot of people, I don't know, I don't want to say afraid, but straight afraid, or just it's like that elephant in the room. But let's all face it, that shit sucks. I mean, it is just, it's not easy to navigate it at times. It's lonesome. It's a multitude of things and layers, and trying to find that. And I like to always bring it up because everyone should have a place and a safe place and should ask for help when need be. And we want that for everyone, parents, kids, you name it. And it can affect anybody. It doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah. I gotta say though, a lot of the people that we end up talking to are like went through this dark place and then persevere and come out the other side and use it as like a stepping stone or like a learning process or like it's like formative in some way. And they, I don't know, it's weird, but we just happen to have these people that are on that are going to do the same thing over and over again in a different way. But it's always you get put in the dark place, and when you come out of that crap, you're something better.
Yeah. I think I would add to that is it just, at least in my case, nothing happens as fast as you want it to. I mean, it's
Oh
like
yeah.
I mean, shoot, I broke my neck in 1996 and here it is 2025. So it's been a journey. I mean, it's coming up on 30 years, which just blows my mind. And I was in the hospital for 5.5 months and I was under the impression and in this denial that I'd be walking out of there. I thought I was going to be that miracle case. And, when I was in that funk, I was able to kind of change my mindset of instead of really being like, why me, more like, why not me? It at least gave me more of a direction and just kind of put the onus on my own shoulders to like try to figure this out. But just because obviously you make that sort of change, it doesn't automatically take you to Candyland, right? It's
Uh,
still very much you're in the trenches and it's difficult and it's hard. So to look back on it going like, wow, that trial, which I guess still is ongoing, has made me stronger and like it allows me to get out of it. It's very difficult to say thank you, for that
yeah, oh,
trial.
yeah,
That could kill me. Man, you don't want to swallow that thing.
yeah. Learning shit the hard way is not fun.
Yeah, let me thank you for my shit sandwich. Yeah, I mean, we've learned so many different. I mean, Mark and I constantly talk about it amongst ourselves, and we'll get asked. We have a lot of interns, and I'm sure you do. Like, how do you guys do it? You guys always act like you can just handle everything, and it's just like you just do it. It's like you said. I mean, you just got to, like I always say, you got to put your big girl chonies on and get up every day and show up. I mean, when you have kids now, when you have a different responsibility now, it's not just you, it's your family, it's your other half, it's your household, it's those kids, and they brighten your day and challenge you every day, but you want to do good by them. I'm
Yeah.
sure that's it's life changing to become a parent for sure.
So here's another one that I hear is I can never do what you do. And
Yeah, yeah.
it's one of those where when I hear that, it's like you don't know what you can do. It's like if you're thrown like life's curveball, whatever it is, how minor, how severe, it's like you don't really know what you got in you until you really tried and tested. But you got to stay in the game. You got to stay in the game and you got to focus and build your community, ask the questions and shed those tears and, just but go through it. Just don't quit. Keep
Yep,
pushing. Keep leaning in.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
I actually want to talk about like the stuff you make because I personally use them with my son all the time, and they're incredibly convenient. And I recommend them to have recommended them to probably 400 families that I've worked with that have Trexos because they're functionally incredibly convenient. So why zippers? What's going on?
Boy, I love that question. It's such an easy question, but at the same time, like there's so much to that story.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different shoes out there with different kinds of entry points. And zippers. I think zippers are something that was very appealing to me. It felt like for me to be able to put my shoes on originally, it had to be a way to open up the shoe in a manner that I'd never seen before. So, like, yes, you can have more of a slip on, but you have to shove your foot into a shoe. So you can remove the laces, but you still have to shove your foot into a shoe. You can have a situation where, or you can put it in Velcro or something like that, where it kind of opens up. But I could never find something that completely opened up, whereas you can actually see the footbed of the shoe. So you can actually, instead of shoving your foot into a shoe, you can actually place your foot into a shoe. And then also taking into consideration that my limited hand dexterity, it had to be a closure type system that you could actually put perhaps a loop on something where I could hook my thumb and then to be able to close it up. So that took out Velcro because that requires pinching. That took out laces because I don't have the dexterity. I need to place my foot into a shoe, so slip-on is not going to work. So zipper was really like the only thing left. And zippers, it's not new having a zipper in a shoe. I mean, it's definitely been tried and true, but just the way we configured it, that was the unique part. So, like me pretty much staring at my feet for ever since I broke my neck and just contemplating there's got to be a different way to do this. Having that zipper go on the outside of the shoe and around the toe where it completely opens up and you can put your foot in unobstructed, that was kind of the concept. And we didn't know if it was going to work, but it was enough for us to be able to find a factory to be able to make us a sample and to give it a try. And they made a beautiful sample. It looked exactly the way we hoped it would. And it had kind of that skate look of the shoes that I grew up with. And I tried it on. I mean, shoot, I was 36 years old when I tried my shoes on again. I broke my neck at 18. So for me, it was a half a lifetime later since losing that independence. And it was such a special day. We knew we had to share it. We didn't know what was going to come of it, but we knew we had to share it, and it just started to take off.
Okay.
I
Well,
have a question because I watched a YouTube video, and I was just your story, how you started the shoe and in regards to and about the zipper, but also that that you had stated that you just you weren't necessarily narrowing your audience to accessibility. It's for everyone. The style, the comfort, just for anybody. It doesn't have to be someone that has an accessible issue. It just you wanted a shoe that was just for everybody. No specific person in mind besides obviously the zipper itself, but just the designs, and I thought that was quite cool. Because people ask, "Oh, the adaptive." Well, why does it have to be in everyone wants to wear the cool shoes too, you know? That's go ahead.
Yeah. So there were two things that really went into that. First off, we remember being on the playground growing up in elementary school that the kids that were wearing something different, the other kids would remind those kids that they're wearing something different. And the last thing, if we're going to bring something to the market that comes from an adaptive idea, we want to make sure that that shoe made you feel confident and didn't look different. The last thing we wanted to do is make someone feel different because we just remembered that on the playground. That was the last thing we wanted to do. We wanted to reverse the narrative. We wanted to have it so like if that kid needs to buy a functional shoe because of whatever's going on, they're gonna put that thing on. And other kids that don't necessarily need a functional shoe are gonna see that thing going like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I want one too. And it's awesome because we've seen that happen over and over and over in the story of our brand. But the other reason why we wanted to have a shoe that looked like something that anybody could wear is starting a shoe company is kind of a crazy idea. I mean, it is a very, very extremely competitive space, and it takes a lot of capital to get going. It's a risky play. So for us to be able to even survive as a business, we needed to cast that net as broadly as possible. If we would have just been super niche and our message was if you're a C6 quadriplegic like Billy Price, this is the shoe for you. I mean, that is a true statement, but at the same time, it's so narrow that there's no way we could ever survive as a business. Not only as a business, but all of a sudden having a bigger mission to try to really make a difference. I mean, we just wouldn't have been able to get out of the starting block.
You ever get asked a question of people, we know because of the space that we're in and we utilize Billies a lot, but just those that are not in this space, when people ask you or like, oh, you're in a wheelchair or just surprised or not necessarily know your backstory. Do you ever have any of those weird run-ins or stories that might come to play? Like just because, like I said, the designs are cool. I mean, I like them. I wear them. They're comfortable. I mean, my kid wears them too, just like Mark said with his son. I know people at work wear them. I mean, they're cool. I mean, but just like you don't necessarily hear that kind of a story. So, do you have anything that pops out in your head?
Well, one of my favorite stories is one of the first validators that we had very early when we first got going, and it has to do with when we were partnered with Zappos, but we were also partnered with Nordstrom. And we're out of the Seattle area. We were in 5 Nordstrom stores in kind of this area. One of which was the flagship store in downtown Seattle. And our gray jersey high top, which is one of the first shoes we launched with, it was on the shelves in August of 2017. It was right in time for back to school. And when I heard it was on the shelves, I was living in Seattle at the time. I went down into that store, actually put my eyeballs on the shoe to see it on the shelf. And knowing how far we had and how much we had worked to be able to just come to that point, it was just a really special moment. And as I was looking at this pair of shoes, there was a hand that came into the frame and grabbed it and took it off the shelf because she was grabbing shoes for her 2 kids to try on because it was back to school. And I just like, oh my gosh, like it's in the store and not, oh my gosh, that just happened. Someone's actually interested in this thing. And then I kind of sat back and watched it. About 10 minutes later, her 2 kids, brother and sister, both bought that pair of gray jersey high tops. So they're walking out together. And in that moment, I had to stop him going like, oh my gosh, like I'm Billy of Billy Footwear. Like that's my brand. This is probably the first in-store sale we have ever had. This is just really special to me. And she made the comment first, like, thank you so much for stopping me. And there was kind of some back and forth. But I remember what she said, the reason I bought these shoes for my kids, because they were trying on a lot of different shoes, a lot of different big name brands that we are now going toe to toe with. She said, the reason I bought these shoes for my kids is because these are the shoes my kids wanted to wear. And these kids did not have a disability. I mean, they'd be just like your regular, whatever regular means, but they didn't have like, they weren't in a wheelchair like myself. So that was the validator. That was right out. That was right very early in our starting of this brand. And it was just a real credible example that the brand, even though it came from a space that like kind of an adaptive type origin, it could live with the big boys in the mainstream space.
Awesome.
And that's cool. That's so cool. I would be, yeah, that's
I
definitely
think the part
cool.
about that story too that just really like sends chills down my back, and I'm just remembering this now. It was in Nordstrom, downtown Seattle, and it's in the kids department. As I'm seeing this happen, and after I had this conversation, there's a piano up there, and the guy starts playing the song like Hallelujah by gosh, what's the guy's name? Leonard
Leonard Cohen.
Cohen. Yes, Leonard Cohen. I'm like, can it
That's
get any better? Man,
yeah, that's a pretty good day. That's a pretty good day.
Did you play the lotto that day?
Yeah, no kidding. We already won. Doesn't matter.
Isn't it amazing? And I'm sure you have a lot of stories of things, but you could see it in your face and how just you remember it like it was yesterday. It's pretty cool.
Okay, let me pick your brain. You got any other feedback that we need to know about that you've gotten from customers? Some good ones?
uh, about the shoes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, another one that comes to mind right now that just really hit me in a very positive way. Well, we get the comment from customers that it's more than a shoe. I mean, yes, it's a shoe, but it ends up being this unlock for something for something bigger. And I can certainly relate to that in terms of if I can't put my shoes on, I really can't go outside. Like you can't go out and do your day. And it's all because of you can't put your shoes on. Like and I can relate to that. So I mean, I could dress myself like head to toe except for my shoes. So that I had to plan all of my like morning routine trying to coordinate with somebody coming into my home to help me with my shoes. Like that's just wild. And anyway, this one particular story, it was from a parent and I think their son, no, it was their daughter. Their daughter, she has autism. And she was enrolled in some sort of program where she had the opportunity to go off to college, but it was just kind of it was set up in a way that it was some sort of accommodations to be able to live independently to be able to go to college. And the one thing that was preventing her from being able to enroll in this program because she had to dress herself independently. The one thing she couldn't do was shoes. So all of a sudden she gets a pair of shoes and she's able to do that by herself. And then that allows her to enroll into this program, this assistive program, which is coupled with going to college. And that's all because of a piece of apparel, essentially. And it's like, wow, yes, it's shoes, but talk about more than shoes. That ends up being this complete unlock to this bigger world. And now having a college education, having that degree, what that sets you up for the future, and that wouldn't have been possible had you could put your shoes on. I mean, that's the one that really really sticks with me of how impactful just a piece of clothing can be.
Yeah, that one's massive. I gotta say that's huge. And a heck of a story. Thank you for sharing.
Can I gotta go left again because it's staring at me and I've been wanting to ask. I know Billy, I know your name, and I know it's the name, but we got the goat. There must be a nice story behind the goat. I'd love to hear it if there is.
Yes. The goat, I mean, there's the play on words, me being Billy, the goat, Billy Goat. But there's definitely more than that. We wanted to have a logo that just embodied this being of tenacity, grit, determination, perseverance, and it really stems from being in rehab. Really, I mean, being in the hospital for 5 months, really trying to piece my life back together, both physically and mentally. Just I don't know, there's mental demons, like just like trying to push through that negative thought and like changing your mindset to something that where you're accepting of what you have instead of like, longing for what you lost. So that's the grit. And we wanted to be able to have some sort of character that embodied that. So I think about these mountain goats that can just like jump up the Alps, like somehow defy gravity. I don't know how they're like holding on to sheer walls, but somehow they do it. So you have that like extreme case, or you have like a ram that's gonna put its head down and like blast through a wall. But then you also have just like the farm goat that is like providing sustenance for the entire family. Or you have that stubborn goat that's gonna like mow through like Himalayan blackberries without trouble. So it just seemed like this perfect character that really fit the bill. The logo we have right now, it's a much more simplified version. The original logo that we had, it was full body, and it was funny because the full body and his back legs, it almost looked like a wheel. So that was a double play on me being in a wheelchair, like having wheels, but almost also giving kind of props to the Roadrunner, where it's just like, going after something with so much vigor that you can't even see his feet. It's just like kind of spinning. That was the original logo. It was much more, there was a lot more detail to it. But the problem was it worked really well when it was really big. But as soon as the logo got small, it would get really muddy. So we worked with a brand agency here in the Seattle area to help us simplify it. And this is what stuck.
Very cool.
Nice.
Very cool. So let's talk about the business for a little bit, I guess. What have you learned from your personal life that you were able to apply to it?
Well, so first off, like, so I'm one of two co-founders. My fellow co-founder, Darren Donaldson, he's the business guy. He's the entrepreneur. And he and I, we've known each other pretty much all of our lives. We rode the bus together in elementary school. Anyway, our paths kind of separated, but then they came back together at a Christmas party. We were spitballing, just catching up, and that's when I pitched the shoe idea. And the only reason I pitched that is because he was already working on a shoe project of his own, and that was enough for him to run with making because he already had some contacts to be able to make the sample, and that's what really got us going. So the part that I was bringing to the table within this initial business relationship, which at that point was just a side hustle, we had no idea it would turn into this thing. It was just something outside of our day jobs we were doing. I brought some of the problem solving and also I guess the need for it. And Darren had more of the vision of what it could become, and also the understanding of how a shoe was put together, but also teaching me all about entrepreneurship. Because prior to that, I mean, I had a government job. I was working for the Federal Aviation Administration. It was a nice federal job, very secure, and I was working as a mechanical engineer. So to jump out of that into an entrepreneurial online business doing shoes, like not only is it completely different, but it's like you're going like from something stable to something like very volatile. But as soon as I learned about entrepreneurship, where like you are basically the one driving your own potential, the sky is the limit. And I felt like I was kind of I loved working as the at the FAA and all that, but I felt that I had kind of I'd reached the ceiling there, and I needed something that could kind of uncork what I knew I had more. I knew I had more in me, and I was looking for something bigger, and this company ended up being the outlet.
Awesome. Okay. So what is next for Billy Footwear? Is there anything different on the horizon? What's going on?
Or is it a secret? I hope
Or
not.
yeah.
Oh, I mean, it's never, well, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's a secret. Well, we got to grow. I mean, we really got to grow. I mean, one of our missions is something we've had written down on the wall for I don't know if it's since day one, but if it wasn't from day one, it was soon after. It was really we want to be a brand that adds value, and we do that by striving to add value and make that measurable difference in the world one foot at a time. And for us to be able to add a lot of value, you can't give what you don't have. And for us to add a ton of value, we need to get much bigger. So, I mean, this thing started in my parents' basement. We went from my parents' basement to Darren's kitchen, and then we moved into our first warehouse I mean, shoot, Darren's kitchen. Oh my gosh, those were the days. Anyway, like outside of his house, we just had a semi truck container, and that's where we stored the shoes. And then we would ship them out of his kitchen. And then we moved into a smaller warehouse. It was about 2,000 square feet, and we outgrew that within a month. And then adjacent to that, there was another warehouse that we ended up cutting a hole in the wall to be able to connect the two. And then we outgrew that, and now we're in a 25,000 square foot warehouse, which doesn't hold everything. So now there's another one about 5 minutes down the road, which is more like the bulk storage for stuff that comes inbound from our factories overseas. So the team used to be just Darren and myself. Now it's more than 40 people. So we've definitely grown through the years, but there's so many so many people out there that don't know about the brand. I mean, word of mouth has been a powerful thing for us, but there's so many more people that need to learn about the brand. And because the more people that find out about it, that's more people we get to work together with, the bigger we grow the community. And it's a community made up of inclusive thought. And that's where you can drive change and create that equality and that equity and that just level playing field type thinking where we can all rally around like some sort of comment, like a shoe. I mean, oh my gosh, but rally around something bigger than that, which is like, because it is more than a shoe, just this idea to make the world a better place. So where we're going, we got to get bigger. And we're just looking for more visibility, more people to find out about the brand, but also more collaborations to be able to do big things together.
Awesome. Awesome.
I mean, I'm just curious. So, because, Trex is very similar to Billy shoes. I mean, in the way it started, I'm just sitting here resonating, just, hearing how they started. And I remember how Trexo has evolved and it's true. If you're not known, how can anybody buy anything and that's such a key point to anything. I mean, sales of anything. And it's like, it doesn't matter how good a product is. If nobody knows about it, how the heck are they going to buy it? And finding that pipeline in order to segue them in for knowledge. And, you know, everyone has a marketing team, how involved are you, Billy, directly in all of that? Because I know it's a lot. I mean, you can only be in so many places. You can't be everywhere anymore.
Yeah,
How do you juggle your time now?
well, I get stretched thin, that's for sure. But I mean, my world basically revolves around the business and then the family at home. My wife and I and our two kids. We have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, and that's basically my world. It's the family world, and then it's the business world. They're both my family. But in terms of like the marketing stuff you're talking about and the outreach, yeah, I am involved in that. It's very much a collaborative effort, but there's so much marketing that can be done that's outside of like the traditional stuff where one would think you just like put your name on a billboard, or it's like you got to make yourself a commercial and like throw money at it. Our relationship with Trexo, for example, I can't remember the initial original like point how we got connected, but I do know that we were working together for Make-A-Wish. It's just like Make-A-Wish, like Trexo, and then that person needs shoes. And we would come together and then we'd provide this turnkey solution for that individual that just all of a sudden had this life-changing experience. So it's funny how like robot and shoe, like you would never really think those two have any sort of crossover, but they're vital, because you can't be in the Trexo without shoes. And it's like, well, that person, that family probably needs something more functional that needs to, operate in a little bit different way. So then most likely they're going to use the Billy shoe. So then you guys actually went to the point to change the moldings of like the actual, like where the foot resides around our like outsole, which is like, it's just amazing. So that type of like real creative kind of thought of collaboration where we can talk about Trexo can talk about us, and we both rise together, bettering the community. It's that type of stuff that we're trying to do in a lot of different areas.
Yeah, I got to say a big fat thank you for that one, because that was me trying to figure out a pair of shoes that was going to work with these kids, because I was running into it repeatedly when I would put a new child on the device and they'd start walking and they'd pull their AFO out of their shoes. And I was getting duct tape and trying to tape people's feet in and Velcro and all this stuff. And then saw your shoes and the light bulb went off, and you could actually hold the person's foot in the way that I needed it to work with the device, and I didn't have that. It was the missing link. And it was accessible for all these families because it's a product they can order and just have delivered to their house based on the needs of themselves. So like for me, it was an absolute game changer because it allowed me to put kids in that had small feet. Because before that, I was up a creek. I couldn't figure out how to get past it, to be honest with you. And that was the only solution. And then I just started telling everybody who got a Trexo, like, if you're doing this, you need a pair of these. And here, I'd send the link to your website. I sent it to probably 400 families. It was just a constant because it was,
Be with our literature at this point. I mean, literally. I mean, that's
I
all
needed the tool.
it
The
is.
squeaky wheel needed the grease, and you were the only guy providing the lock that fit the key, or the key that fit the lock. And it was perfect.
That's so awesome.
It is. I mean, we still have families that walk through the door to this day that don't even have appropriate shoes for their kiddos with braces,
Oh, yeah.
and we're constantly telling them, and they're like, "What do you mean?" we go in and explain, and it just like you said, just getting the word out and just, like you said, as little as how life-changing as the simplicity of a shoe, where those that don't have to think about it the way that we do is they don't have a clue. And, like you get that, I don't know how you do it kind of thing. And for me, whenever I hear that, I get a little, you look at it, I get a little perturbed, like you get tired of hearing it because it's just like, I'll be honest, it's just like, okay, I get it. But it's just like, don't look at it that way. It isn't, the things that we have come across, your journey, our journey has changed. And like, yes, back in the, would we ever wish this upon ourselves? Absolutely not. We'll be honest. But it has molded us to who we are today and what we're continuing on each and every day. And I think it just makes us that much stronger and valuable to our community because we can help mold and make change as it needs to continuously change and evolve because it still needs to, shockingly enough, as much as disability has always been around since forever. I am so shocked how I just absolutely get frustrated with how lagging it is, but that's a whole nother topic later. So
But at the same time, on the disability side, just I'm so appreciative of so many pioneers that came long before me to be able to put things in place that just allow me to get across the street. Like just the whole thing about, I mean, think about curb cuts. Like curb cuts are just like kind of a commonality, but those didn't exist. I mean, yeah, just the pioneers long before us that have done tremendous things.
totally. Well, we're about out of time, but Billy, man, it's been rad. I'm telling you. I'm over here looking at the shoes. I'm looking at the design. I'm like, why isn't this an adult size? I want that design. Like, let's close with what makes you decide that one brand only sticks with the kids or some go to the adults or everything goes to one? How do you figure that all out? Because I dig some of those kid designs that I'd like. How do I get a pair?
Yeah, well, that's a very difficult thing that we have to try to wrap our arms around every single season. Because you're right, it's like there's so many different directions that we can go. You have to all of a sudden try to put some guardrails around it, and like how many can we go that we should go. So a lot of it is there's a couple of really big drivers. One is it's a request from the community. Like all of our designs that we have, they've all come from the community or inspired in some way or feedback on a previous design or whatever, how we can improve it. The other one is like the various colorways, just like understanding what's out in the market, like seeing what other brands are doing or what colors are just like, kind of trending for that particular season or seasons beyond. And then also working with our retail partners. I mean, our major retail partners are Zappos and also Nordstrom. So working with their teams to share with us because they have some ideas on what they want to be having in store, or what they maybe there's a gap or something like that that they don't have. And then also um thinking about future partners. Like for example, we'd love to be an REI. So that's what kind of inspired more of like the trail shoe and like the boot that released just this last year. But that's also a request from the field saying like, oh my gosh, I'd love to be able to have a shoe that I could put my son's AFO and it's more of a hiking boot. You're like, all right, well, I don't think that exists out there. Let's take a crack at it. So all that stuff like comes in and it funnels down, and then we make what we can, and then evaluate and see how it did or what did we miss, and then we try to pick it up on the next season. But it's challenging because you're always thinking seasons and seasons ahead. I mean, the design team's already thinking about spring 27. You're like, oh my gosh, like that's like you don't even know what year it is at that point.
We haven't done we haven't done 2 Christmases yet. What are you talking about? I got my kids' birthdays. What do you mean? But I get it. It's not like you can pick a design for, you know, winter that's 2025 because you have to design it. It has to be approved. It has to be you have to make it. You have to production. There's way too much. You just can't put an order just like at a where online and have it just come in 2 days. So it doesn't work that way. So I get it. I'd like to close with this is what can we do is if you had a wish list, if there was anything else further that we could do between Billy and Truxo and Billy, do you see anything different that you'd like to see that we could do that we can make it even better? Because we are in the same space to help each other. And I think that's super important.
I wouldn't say there's anything different. I would say that and just kind of reiterate that our brand is on the map because of word of mouth. Word of mouth is a tremendously powerful thing. I mean, early on we were doing like kind of giveaways and like through our social media because we didn't have money, but we had product, and it was a matter of like, hey, enter this giveaway. But part of it was to do that, you got to tag your friend, like tag two friends and then like the post. So that compounds itself over time. So what would help us tremendously is just those that are listening, just simply, have you heard about the brand Billy Footwear? That simple within your community. And just like us, have you heard about Trexo before? That type of deal. It's incredible, like over and over and over how that compounds. And then all of a sudden, because you're not only just like dropping like this brand, but you're educating. You're educating. You're talking about something that's approaching something differently. That's a very complex world, and any way you kind of give someone a leg up of some sort of a solution based product, I mean, we're all better for it. So just simply, have you heard about Billy Footwear? Have you heard about Trexo? Goes a long ways.
It's awesome.
I was gonna say, like, we're facing the same thing. It's just awareness, getting our name out there and people knowing that it's an option because we find that it's hard to access the population that we're trying to access because we're more of a niche market, but at the same time, we're faced the same things. It's just word of mouth and trying to get our name out there and let people know that it's an option.
You
So
know, have you guys done much on TikTok?
Not much on TikTok, no. We lots of Facebook, Instagram, that kind of stuff, but not much. Yeah, not much on the old TikTok.
So TikTok is a new space for us. We're just getting going on it, but it just seems like a word of mouth machine if you can
really,
get in the right channel. I mean, but it's like you're going from zero to like, and then you got to find these like fast lanes, but it just seems like it could really create a lot of word of mouth in a hurry. But as I say, we're just getting going on it. So I don't really have a real testimony for it quite yet, but it just seems like it's got some potential.
seems like that's where the main space is of every just in general, like constant. Everyone's on there for reels and stories and just yeah, multitude. And I know our marketing team is constantly shifting gears and checking the algorithms and figuring where's that one reel that's just going to shoot to the top and just explode and just boom, you know? Yeah, they have to, TikTok. Yeah, that's an unknown space. I mean, we're so busy. Like, I don't even get on social media very much myself. It's just so much. But
I'm
yeah,
trying to think. I remember hearing something in the news about TikTok in Canada, and I don't even know if you can.
I was just
Uh,
gonna say they have their space is completely different. They can't even when I go to Canada, I go up there and take my son for intensives. I don't think you can even I can't get my YouTube, I can't get on
I
my
don't think.
Peacock, I can't get on my
Yeah, yeah,
show.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
crazy.
I think it might be a thing. Like, I don't quote me on it, but I think that might be a reason.
Hmm.
Oh, we'll have to look. We'll have to
Yeah,
bounce it
yeah.
off of my house. Stay tuned.
Fair enough.
TikTok Live, Ohio, Truxo, boom, boom, boom. Oh my God,
Oh,
I
man.
can't. Well, Billy, it has been such a pleasure. You are welcome anytime. Yeah, so excited to what's coming more, and I'm constantly shopping, looking for what I'm gonna put on my feet, my kids' feet, because I am a shoe. I won't say the word I normally use. I just absolutely love shoes. I just love shoes. So keep them coming for sure.
Yeah, thank you. And we'll do. I mean, there's lots of fun toys coming. So I know like people getting really excited about the light up goats. Like you just kind of stomp and then the goat on the outside lights up. I mean, that's in the DR silhouette, which I know a lot of the those who use Trexo use. So that's been a real popular one.
That's
Super cool.
cool. Well,
Super
cool.
cool.
Well, thanks again, Billy. It's been awesome.